Have you ever looked at a man and thought, wait, is he actually flirting with me or is he just being nice? Because here's the truth. Most men will not always come right out and say, I'm attracted to you. Sometimes they hide it behind a joke. Sometimes they hide it behind a smile. Sometimes they hide it behind a simple question they didn't even need to ask. And sometimes the man who seems completely calm around you is actually paying attention to every little thing you do. The problem is, if you don't know what to look for, you can miss the signs completely. You might mistake attraction for friendliness. You might mistake nervousness for disinterest. You might even convince yourself that he doesn't care when, in reality, he has been trying to get closer to you without making himself too vulnerable. But a woman who understands human behavior doesn't have to chase answers. She watches, she listens, she pays attention to patterns. Because one isolated action can mean nothing. But when several small behaviors keep showing up around you, something else may be happening beneath the surface. And today, we're going to talk about 10 signs that a man may be secretly flirting with you. Not the obvious signs, the subtle ones, the signs that happen when a man is interested but hasn't decided whether he should reveal it. And the first sign is one that many women completely overlook. He finds reasons to keep talking to you. Think about it. If a man has no real interest in you, why would he constantly look for opportunities to continue a conversation? Sure, a friendly man may talk to you. A polite man may ask you questions. But there is a difference between being polite and creating opportunities for connection. Maybe the conversation should have ended 10 minutes ago, but somehow he keeps finding another question. You answer him, and suddenly there's another topic. You're about to walk away, and he remembers something else he wants to tell you. You say goodbye, and somehow the conversation starts again. That can be a sign, because when someone is attracted to you, your presence becomes valuable to them. They don't necessarily need a reason to talk. They simply want more time around you. And sometimes the excuse is almost ridiculous. He might ask something he could easily find out himself. He might comment on something you're wearing. He might bring up a topic you mentioned days ago. He might send you a message about something small that doesn't really require a message. The subject may not matter. The desire to keep the connection alive is what matters. A man who likes you may not always know how to say, I enjoy being around you. So instead, he creates another 5 minutes, then another 10, then another conversation. And ladies, pay attention to that pattern because attraction often reveals itself through effort before it reveals itself through words. The second sign is that he remembers little things you said. Now, this is where it gets interesting. People remember what matters to them. That doesn't mean every man who remembers your favorite coffee is secretly in love with you. But if he consistently remembers small details that most people will forget, it may indicate that he is paying unusually close attention. You casually mention that you have an important meeting on Thursday. Thursday comes and he asks, how did your meeting go? You tell him once that you love a certain song and weeks later he brings it up. You mention that you dislike something and later he remembers it. You tell him about your favorite restaurant and somehow that detail stays in his mind. Why? Because when someone is interested, they often listen differently. They don't just hear your words. They notice you. They notice what makes you smile. They notice what annoys you. They notice the stories you tell. They notice the things you care about. And when a man remembers something you barely remember telling him, don't immediately dismiss it. It may simply mean you made an impression. The third sign is that his body language changes around you. This is one of the biggest clues because the body can reveal what the mouth is trying to hide. A man can control his words. He can decide what he wants to say. He can pretend he isn't interested. But controlling every physical reaction is much harder. Watch what happens when you enter the room. Does he suddenly straighten his posture? Does he adjust his shirt? Does he fix his hair? Does he become more energetic? Does he suddenly become quieter? Does he turn his body toward you? Even when other people are talking, these little changes can be meaningful when they happen consistently. Sometimes attraction creates nervous energy. A man who normally appears confident may suddenly become slightly awkward around the woman he actually likes. He may stumble over his words. He may laugh more than usual. He may become unusually serious. He may look at you, look away, then look back again. And sometimes he doesn't even realize he's doing it. That's why body language can be so powerful. You are not listening only to what he says, you are observing what happens to him when you are near. But remember this, one gesture doesn't prove anything. Kexel matters, pause matter, consistency matters. The fourth sign is that he teases you differently than he teases everyone else. Now, playful teasing can be a natural way for people to build connection. When a man is attracted to a woman, he may use humor because humor lowers tension. Instead of directly saying, "I like you," he may make a playful comment. Instead of giving you an obvious compliment, he may tease you about something harmless. Instead of showing serious interest, he may create a little playful tension. Why? Because flirting is often about creating emotional energy. A little teasing, a little laughter, a little challenge, a little mystery. But there is an important distinction. Healthy flirting should make you feel respected, not humiliated. If his jokes constantly insult you, embarrass you, or cross your boundaries, that is not something you should romanticize. A man showing genuine interest should still respect your dignity. The goal isn't to tolerate disrespect because you think he likes you. The goal is to recognize playful attention while maintaining your standards. And if his teasing comes with a smile, eye contact, genuine curiosity, and respect, it may be his way of testing whether the chemistry between you is mutual. The fifth sign is that he gives you attention when he doesn't have to. This one is powerful. Anyone can be attentive when circumstances force them to be, but voluntary attention is different. Does he notice when you arrive? Does he check whether you're okay? Does he make an effort to include you in conversations? Does he look for you in a crowded room? Does he find a reason to sit near you? Does he notice when you change something about your appearance? Those actions can reveal where his attention naturally goes, because attention is one of the most valuable things a person gives. You can spend money and earn it back. You can lose time and never get it back. And when someone repeatedly chooses to spend their attention on you, that choice can mean something, especially when he doesn't behave that way with everyone else. But here is where women sometimes make a mistake. They see attention and immediately assume commitment. No, attention is not commitment. Flirting is not a relationship. Chemistry is not compatibility. A man can be attracted to you without being ready to build something serious. That is why you should never allow a few flirtatious moments to make you abandon your standards. Observe. Enjoy the connection if you genuinely enjoy it. But let his consistency tell you what his intentions are. Because real interest eventually becomes more than attention. It becomes effort. The sixth sign is that he becomes curious about your relationship status now. This one can be subtle. He may casually ask, "Are you seeing anyone?" He may bring up dating during a conversation. He may ask what kind of man you usually like. He may joke about whether someone has already claimed you. He may ask what you're doing over the weekend. And sometimes the question is disguised as something completely innocent. But listen carefully. A man who has absolutely no romantic curiosity about you usually has little reason to investigate your availability. Again, this doesn't guarantee attraction. Some people are naturally curious. Some conversations simply go in that direction. But when this question appears alongside other signs, extra attention, prolonged eye contact, remembering details, finding reasons to talk, then the pattern becomes more interesting. And sometimes the most revealing part isn't the question itself. It's his reaction to your answer. If you say you're single, does his face brighten? Does he suddenly become more engaged? Does he start asking more questions? Does the energy between you change? That reaction can tell you more than the original question, because sometimes a man is quietly trying to find out whether there is an opening. He doesn't want to risk rejection before he knows whether the door is even slightly open. And that brings us to something every woman should understand. A man who is interested may not always move quickly. Sometimes he watches first. He studies the situation. He tries to determine whether you are comfortable around him. He looks for signs that his attention is welcome. He may test the waters with humor. He may give you a small compliment. He may start a conversation and watch how you respond. He may step forward and then pull back. Not every hesitation means he isn't interested. Sometimes hesitation means he doesn't know what you want. And that is why your behavior matters too. You don't have to chase. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to become someone you're not just to make a man notice you. If there is genuine chemistry, You can allow the connection to develop naturally. Let him show you who he is. Let him make an effort. Let his actions become clearer. Because the strongest position you can have in dating is not desperation. It is awareness. You know your value. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to compete for affection. You don't need to decode every single message like it's a secret government document. You simply observe the pattern. And if the pattern shows genuine interest, respect, consistency, and effort, then you have something worth exploring. But if the pattern shows confusion, inconsistency, disrespect, and attention only when it benefits him, then don't allow attraction to blind you. A woman with self-respect does not ask only, does he like me? She also asks, do I like the way he treats me? That question can save you from a lot of heartbreak, because being desired is exciting, but being respected is essential. Being pursued can feel good, but being valued is what matters. And knowing that someone is flirting with you can be flattering, but knowing that someone has the character to build something meaningful with you is far more important. So if you recognize these signs, don't rush to conclusions. Don't build an entire love story from one smile. Don't assume every compliment means he wants a relationship. And don't ignore your intuition either. Watch the pattern. Listen to his words. Observe his actions. And most importantly, watch whether his behavior becomes more consistent over time. Because when a man is genuinely interested, eventually the mystery starts becoming less mysterious. The little signs begin turning into real effort. The casual conversations become intentional. The attention becomes consistency. And the flirting becomes clearer. So stay calm, stay confident, and never forget this. You do not have to chase someone into revealing their feelings. Give people space to show you what they naturally want to show you. The right person will not require you to abandon your dignity just to receive their attention. And if a man is secretly flirting with you, you won't have to spend forever guessing. Eventually, his actions will speak loudly enough that you won't need to ask. Now let's go deeper. Because the signs that come next are often the ones that separate simple friendliness from genuine attraction. A man can smile at you. He can compliment you. He can make you laugh. But when his behavior starts changing specifically because you are around, that is when you need to pay attention. The seventh sign is that he finds small ways to make you feel noticed. Maybe he notices when you change your hairstyle. Maybe he remembers the outfit you wore last week. Maybe he notices when you seem tired. Maybe he asks why you're quieter than usual. Maybe everyone else walks into the room without saying anything, but he immediately notices that you are there. That kind of attention can be revealing because attraction often makes a person more observant. When you genuinely interest someone, little things about you become important. Your expressions, your mood, your reactions, your stories, your laugh, even the way you respond when he says something. And sometimes he may not compliment you directly. Instead, he may say something like, you look different today. Or, you seem really happy today. Or you always have an interesting way of looking at things. Those statements may sound simple, but they reveal something important. He is paying attention. And a man who is paying attention is often trying to understand you. Now, don't confuse observation with obsession. There is a healthy level of interest. And there is behavior that crosses boundaries. A respectful man notices you without trying to control you. He is curious without becoming intrusive. He appreciates you without making you uncomfortable. That difference matters. The eighth sign is that he tries to create private moments with you. Watch for this one. When you are around other people, does he somehow find opportunities to speak with you separately? Maybe everyone is having a conversation, but he pulls you into a side conversation. Maybe he waits until everyone else leaves before talking to you. Maybe he walks with you when he could easily go another direction. Maybe he finds a reason to spend a few extra minutes with you after everyone else is gone. Why? Because private moments create space for emotional connection. When a man is interested, he may want to know what you are like when there isn't an audience. He wants to hear your thoughts. He wants to make you laugh. He wants to see whether the chemistry feels different when it's just the two of you. And sometimes he is also testing whether you feel comfortable being around him. That is important because flirting is not always about words. Sometimes flirting is about proximity. He sits closer. He walks beside you. He turns toward you. He stays longer. He creates opportunities for interaction. But again, context matters. If he repeatedly seeks your company while respecting your boundaries, that can be a meaningful sign of interest. If he ignores your boundaries, that is not flirting you should celebrate. Never let the excitement of attention convince you that discomfort is something you should tolerate. The right kind of attention makes you feel appreciated, not pressured. The ninth sign is that his energy becomes noticeably different around you. This is one of the most fascinating signs because people often reveal attraction without realizing it. Think about the man you are trying to understand. How does he behave around everyone else? Is he calm, confident, talkative, serious? Then compare that with how he behaves around you. Does he suddenly become more playful? Does he talk faster? Does he become unusually quiet? Does he seem nervous? Does he start trying harder to make you laugh? Does he become more aware of how he looks? Does he suddenly care about whether you approve of him? That difference can tell you something. Because when we care about someone's opinion, their reaction starts carrying more weight. A simple smile from them can feel bigger. A small rejection can feel stronger. A compliment can stay in our minds. And that is why a man who is attracted to you may behave differently around you than around everybody else. He may try to impress you. He may tell stories that make him look successful. He may mention something he accomplished. He may casually bring up his goals. He may show you a side of himself he doesn't show everyone. Not necessarily because he is arrogant. Sometimes because he wants you to see his value. He wants you to know what he brings to the table. But here's something powerful for you to remember. You don't have to be impressed by performance. Look for character. A man can tell you 100 impressive stories. What matters is how he treats people when there is nothing to gain. How he speaks to people who cannot help him. How he handles disagreement. How he responds when you say no. How consistent he is when the excitement wears off. Because attraction can make someone behave beautifully for a short time. Character determines how they behave over time. And that leads us to the 10th sign. He starts making an effort to stay connected with you. This is where flirting can begin turning into something more intentional. Maybe he checks in with you. Maybe he sends you something that reminds him of you. Maybe he asks about your day. Maybe he looks for another opportunity to see you. Maybe he suggests getting coffee. Maybe he finds a reason to continue a conversation that started days ago. The important word here is effort, because attraction without effort is just a feeling. And feelings alone don't build relationships. A man can think you're beautiful. He can find you fascinating. He can enjoy your company. But if he never makes an effort to know you, then you need to pay attention to that too. Interest that never moves beyond occasional attention may not be enough. Real interest tends to become intentional. It becomes more consistent. It becomes clearer. It starts showing up in actions. And this is where you need to stop asking, how can I make him like me more? Ask a better question. Is he showing me that he wants to know me? There is a huge difference. One question puts all the responsibility on you. The other allows you to observe his effort. You should never have to perform for someone's affection. You don't need to become endlessly available. You don't need to send message after message. You don't need to create jealousy. You don't need to pretend you don't care. You don't need to chase. Let him participate. Let him initiate. Sometimes let him demonstrate consistency. Let him reveal his intentions through behavior. Because when you chase every signal, you can become so focused on getting an answer that you stop observing the quality of the person giving you the answer. And that is dangerous. You can spend weeks wondering whether a man likes you while ignoring whether he actually treats you well. Never make that mistake. A woman with confidence doesn't just ask whether she is attractive to a man. She asks whether that man is attractive to her character, her values, and her future, because the goal isn't simply to be wanted. The goal is to be wanted by someone who knows how to value you. Now let's put all 10 signs together. He finds reasons to keep talking to you. He remembers little things you say. His body language changes around you. He teases you differently. He gives you attention when he doesn't have to. He becomes curious about your relationship status. He notices small things about you. He looks for private moments with you. His energy changes around you, and he makes an effort to stay connected. One sign alone doesn't prove anything. 2 signs might simply be coincidence. But when several of these behaviors appear together, consistently and specifically around you, there may be genuine attraction underneath the surface. Still, don't rush. This is where emotional maturity matters. Sometimes women see one sign and immediately create an entire future in their imagination. He smiled at me. He remembered my birthday. He texted me first. He must be the one. Slow down. Enjoy the moment without creating a future that hasn't happened yet. Let people reveal themselves. You don't need to force certainty. You don't need to demand answers before the relationship has even developed. And you don't need to decode every single message. If a man is interested, give him room to demonstrate it. You can be warm without chasing. You can be receptive without becoming desperate. You can show interest without abandoning your standards. There is strength in allowing someone else to meet you halfway. And if he doesn't, that tells you something too. Sometimes the answer isn't that you weren't attractive enough. Sometimes the answer is simply that he wasn't ready. Sometimes he enjoyed the attention but didn't want the responsibility. Sometimes he was curious but not serious. Sometimes the chemistry was real but the compatibility wasn't. And that's okay. Not every connection is meant to become a relationship. Your worth doesn't increase because a man chooses you, and your worth doesn't decrease because he doesn't. That is one of the most important things you can understand about dating. You were valuable before he noticed you. You are valuable while he is getting to know you, and you remain valuable if he walks away. Never hand another person the authority to decide how much you are worth, because once you know your value, you stop begging people to recognize it. You start observing whether they are capable of appreciating it. That's a completely different mindset. Instead of asking, how do I make him chase me? You ask, is he showing enough consistency for me to take him seriously? Instead of asking, why hasn't he texted? You ask, does his overall behavior show genuine interest? Instead of obsessing over one conversation, you look at the entire pattern. That is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence will protect your heart far more than any dating trick ever could. So if you've been wondering whether a man is secretly flirting with you, don't panic. Don't chase answers. Don't overanalyze every breath he takes. Just observe. Look at his attention. Look at his effort. Look at his consistency. Look at his body language. Look at how different he becomes around you. And most importantly, look at how he treats you when he doesn't think you're watching. Because anyone can perform for attention. Character shows itself when there is nothing to gain. And remember this, the man who genuinely wants to know you will eventually make that desire easier to recognize. You won't have to solve a mystery forever. His effort will become clearer. His intentions will become stronger. His actions will become more consistent. And when words and actions finally match, you won't need to spend every night wondering what he means. You will know. But until then, stay grounded. Don't chase, don't force, don't lower your standards, don't confuse chemistry with commitment, and don't confuse attention with love. Let attraction be the beginning of observation, not the end of your judgment, because you deserve more than a man who knows how to flirt. You deserve a man who knows how to respect you, a man who can communicate, a man who can be consistent, a man who can make his intentions clear, a man who doesn't disappear when things become serious. A man who understands that winning your attention is one thing, but earning your trust is something completely different. So the next time you notice him looking at you a little longer, remembering something you said weeks ago, finding another reason to talk, or suddenly becoming nervous when you walk into the room, don't immediately write the love story in your head. Smile, observe, stay confident, and let time reveal the truth. Because the most powerful woman in the room isn't always the loudest. Sometimes she's the woman who doesn't need to chase an answer. She simply watches. She knows her worth. She keeps her standards, and she lets people reveal themselves through their actions. If he is flirting with you, let him show it. If he is interested, let him make an effort. If he wants something real, let him demonstrate consistency. And if he doesn't, keep walking, because your life is too valuable to spend chasing someone who can't decide whether they want to be part of it. The right connection won't require you to lose yourself to keep it. And the right man won't make you feel like you have to compete for basic attention. He will recognize your value, respect your boundaries, appreciate your presence, and make an honest effort to build something meaningful. So remember these 10 signs. Watch the patterns, trust your judgment, protect your peace, And never forget that attraction is exciting, but self-respect is powerful. You don't need to chase love. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to convince someone to see what you bring to the table. Stand confidently in who you are. Let your presence speak. Let his actions speak. And let time tell you the truth. Because when a man genuinely wants you in his life, eventually he won't just flirt with the possibility. He will make an effort to become part of your reality. And that is the difference between a moment of attraction and the beginning of something real.